Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts and I'm here with Andrea, the founder of Pesado, which manufactures coffee gear, which has really grown traction lately, and with some new products that will launch at the World of Coffee in Greece. So firstly, Andrea, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm stoked to be on your channel.
So we've been friends for many years and it's been awesome to see Australian-based products, original design, to me beautiful design, really grow on the world stage. Before this, it was always felt like it was the same old products or products that were heavily inspired by others. I really like the original products that you've come out with, but can you take us back to the first product you ever did? From memory, it was a Tampa, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, this is pretty much where we started from. And back in the years, we were selling a lot of accessories, gadgets, dampers, all this kind of equipment. And sometimes I was really happy selling them, and sometimes I was not 100% satisfied with what I was giving to people. And back in the years, I thought, because I'm selling this many dampers, I may as well just put my focus to one and just develop something that I thought was gonna be something that I'm actually happy giving to someone.
And I've always noticed that from this Tampa, at the time when it came out with, the radius was a lot sharper, so you were getting a lot more surface area. Before that, a lot of Tampas had quite a big radius here. They were 58 mil with a big radius, so effectively they're almost tamping 57 and a half. And you came out from the get-go 58.5 mil, which was oversized at the time with a sharp radius. And that to me was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
People were a bit funny that it could be damage easy or whatever, but now people really look at Tampas as a tool and really appreciate. I mean, everyone's gone really sharp now.
Yeah, most people has gone really sharp. It's just, it was just a little bit of a step forward into where we were at back in the years. And, it's like to make something special, feel special, to me, like having play in there, like having the tamper just wobbling around left and right, it just didn't feel right. Like having to tamp and then tap and then tamp again. It's like, why would you do that twice?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was to me.
Now if you saw someone tapping the side of a portafilter, you'd leave the cafe.
Yeah, I just walk off. I don't even want the coffee. Keep my money, I walk away.
After the Tampa came the big item, or the item that kind of made you guys really pop up in the map, was the portafilter.
That's right.
Because you're buying these expensive coffee machines and they effectively all had the same plastic handle, so to speak.
Yeah, there was just, in my opinion, like when we started, this is where, coffee machines were really making a difference into a coffee shop. You were walking in there, and if you were from the industry, straight away you look at the machine and you already know more or less the coffee is gonna come in your hand. Now, when you look at that machine, to me, looking at a coffee machine and seeing the handle is like you're looking at the car and you're looking at the wheels.
Yeah.
And I always felt like it was so poorly detailed. Like what was coming out in the market didn't quite have the sharpness that you would expect from such a beautiful product. So that's what led us to kind of develop, first of all, the handle, but then, there was beautiful machines on the market, they still are. Yeah. They were coming out with brass. Yeah. And I was like, man, I'm not having that, Like these guys need to have access to a stainless steel portafilter because the durability, because it's neat, because it looks good, because it's a pleasure to work with. The whole experience that comes from working with a better tool is what made us where we are.
Always felt like with your handles, they were weighted quite neatly. It's nice having a bit of counterweight so it's not always front heavy.
Yeah.
And you did do the inside here hollow, so that you could put a bit of weight if you wanted to match up all the portafilters. That's
right. That was like another kind of thing that was like really hard to achieve a same weight portafilter, because this is casted. Any manufacturer would go through a nightmare, because making them exactly the same way is an absolute nightmare. But by having this like nifty little secret here, all you do is just like you can fill it in with blue tag or lead or whatever you want, and then you just come straight in there, and you got a neat portafilter that they can be exactly the same way. You got no sticky
without
tape,
having a elastic
band or anything like that, So and we put like the biggest effort. I feel like a portafilter is a portafilter. We designed the handle great, but the biggest effort to me was the spout, which I kind of got it in my heart as a Dracula spout, because of the kind of like the sharpness of it. But yeah, to me, like this is just making the experience a little bit special. You know, whoever works with it, he just sees the coffee just pouring out of this stainless
For us,
kind
it
of.
was something different.
Yeah.
Normally when you're screwing on the spouts, it's very hard to get it to line up.
That's
You put
right.
Loctite or whatever it might be. Now it's a lot easier, obviously, to put the spout, put that from the top and really line it up.
Yeah, also the cleaning feature, you know, because like some people really like to clean them and take them apart, especially the domestic users. They're very kind of like keen on having their products super clean. So yeah, this has always been like, you know, a little.
So talking about spouts in your range, you got your double spout, you got your naked, which is sitting here, and now you've got your hybrid, which effectively the bottom comes out.
Yeah, so here's the hybrid. So what we've done here is we made a portafilter where you can just take the bottom out, you know what I mean? And why did we do this, you know, is because we thought, you know, there's space issues, there's, you know, material issues. And you know, we wanted to give you something that, you know, is flexible for whatever you want to do with coffee. So, you know, especially in a domestic setup.
I was going to say domestic because having two handles, one's always in the drawer, it's not hot. Being able to just change the bottom, make a double, and then if you want to play with it, restret or something, just take the bottom out.
100%. Because also you might want to have a strong shot in the morning. You make yourself like a strong latte or double espresso in my case. And then someone comes to see you and it's lunchtime and you don't really feel like making two doubles because, you know, you had enough coffee. You can just simply pull this out the drawer, put it in, done, you know what I mean? Off you go making your two coffees, you know what I mean? Your two espressos, you know? Easy and neat to clean and yeah, saving space, saving material, saving time and looking good.
And while we're on the portafilter journey, for the technicians, you did the portafilter that allows you to see the pressure and temperature at the group head.
Yeah. I've seen this one in your previous video, by the way, and it was really good.
If you want to watch a video on this particular item, because now we're just skimming through items, if you click here, you can watch a full video on this item in action.
What we've done here is create something that measure the temperature coming out of your coffee machine, all right? But how does this do that? This has got a thermocouple built in there that will measure what's coming out of your group head, okay? And the temperature reader is already set. So whatever else is on the market right now needs to be set first. So you gotta set your temperature. So you gotta boil the water, put it in there, set it to 100, okay? Then you can measure the temperature of your coffee machine. This one doesn't, this is already set in the factory. So whatever you're getting is already set, you don't need to set it. And another plus of this one is that you can play with the pressure, okay? So what are you doing here? You're measuring the temperature that comes out of your coffee machine. Great, but we're actually replicating the pressure that would be there with the coffee extraction. So we're not just going full blast, oh yeah, we've got a restrictor there, yeah, more or less, there you go. This is actually replicating what you're getting from a coffee, which is slowing and then slowly dropping the pressure in the group and reading through that. And how is this helpful? This is helpful when you have a coffee machine brand A in one shop and coffee machine brand B in another shop where the offset is different. So if you set the coffee machine A at 92 degrees and the coffee machine B at 92 degrees, it's not likely that the actual group temperature is the same.
Just for the viewers, what I was referring to is on a coffee machine, as much as it might say 92 degrees, it depends on where that 92 degrees is being read.
Yeah.
So a lot of times by the time it hits the group head, it has lost a degree or two. So effectively, if you want to be correct, if you know offsets 2 degrees and you want 91, you might set it at 93. That's what we're referring to, offsets with machines.
Yeah, thank you. And this tool will help you getting there. So this tool will help you setting the two machines exactly the same. First of all, the temperature is a key factor on the coffee, is the temperature. Temperature will change the extraction level, the taste, it will change a lot of things. So first of all, let's set them all the same. Then we can compare coffees, we can compare machines, we can compare baristas. But the first step is to have them running the same, and this tool will really help you doing that. It's also like real flexible, so you can go into any machine. You can actually change the portafilter if you've got like an offset, like the Nova Simonelli or the Astoria. You can change that, so you could potentially set a Nova Simonelli the same as the La Marzocco.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, let's see who's actually making a better coffee.
Yeah.
Or you like the coffee from which one more, or is it the same?
And talking about now,
Yep.
the portafilters, which effectively we're talking about the group heads now. You've done now the shower screens and the filter baskets.
Yeah. So we've gone through producing shower screens together with IMS in Italy and baskets. okay? And we've been doing this for many years. I always had a great relationship with the guys down in Italy. And when we came to market with this, they were just made for us under our specification, especially the basket. And now they've been like taken on by more people, by coffee machine manufacturers and stuff like that, which is all good, you know. But yeah, we stand by the fact that our shower screens that we made with IMS are super durable. What does that mean? That means that for 12 months, you do not need to replace this. There is no need, because there will be an even constant flow for 12 months. Is that saving you money? Yes, of course it's saving you money because you don't need to change the shower. But what is this giving you? It's giving you consistency for 12 months, which is, to me, the real value.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, shower screen is $20, $30, but the actual consistency that you're getting on your coffee for 12 months, that's what I'm giving you.
Yep. We'll come back to this basket.
Yeah.
Because that was just released.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of keep spinning around the distribution tools.
The VDD tool, okay? So what we got here, this is a simple little tool that I personally enjoy using it in my own setup, okay? Don't expect someone that does like 50 kilos a week to be here like needling each one, but I do see the benefit of using it to cut your channeling and to increase your consistency, especially in a setup where you're not really busy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say when you're really busy in a cafe, where you're repeating over and over the same thing so fast that you can get around it. But when you're doing it in your house, or when you're doing it in a place where you haven't made a coffee for an hour, then you might have a clump, you might have something that you're not used to, and then this will help you even out your fluff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and also the cool thing about this one is that these are really fragile, like they're like super thin needles, they're 0.3 of a millimeter. What we've done here, we've made a tool that, if you wreck one of the needle, you can just unscrew it and change the needle out. And there's another thing that you guys don't know, but this one is actually also sold separately. If you guys happen to have one of these coffee machines at home, it would fit neatly on your levetta. So if you wanted to match it to the portafilter, that's another thing you can do with this.
Talking about having this machine on the bench, the reason why we have it is just to show how simply changing the handle changes the whole look of a machine. It's a really beautiful machine. I mean, this machine is like rocket. The designer brands, they've got that timeless design, but it just makes that machine pop, a simple little thing, and you add the whole range and make it all. You
just make your own experience, like you just enhancing. First of all, you're customizing it to your kitchen, to your liking, to your idea, and then you're just making the experience that little bit better.
And the dosing cup, I think everyone knows what a dosing cup is now. It's a pretty standard issue.
Yeah, it is, but when we started with that one, that was actually the very beginning of, like a journey of like so many dosing cups, and we made a jug as well.
I was going to skip to the jug because I think dosing cup's a dosing cup. Jug, you want to talk to me about it?
Yeah, okay, so jug, what have we done with the jug? Well, when we started Pesado, we were keen on going espresso. We are for the espresso. We care about espresso. But again, playing with jugs has always been a thing of mine, and I just feel there's never enough jugs. There's never enough jugs because you might need a bigger jug, you might need a smaller jug, you might need a finer jug. So we just went down the line to go, look, we've gone this far, and let me just draw something up, something that it represents our brand, okay? And there was not a jug in the market that was actually like nicely associated with the things we did. And I wanted to step away from everybody else, and I made the little badge on it, which is like a spot welded bit of stainless steel with the logo, just to be a little bit different than anything else that was on the market already. And then we go down the line to having an open handle, which is a little bit more friendly to use. And we've got a sharp spout and we got a round spout, so we got the two of them. And another thing we done was a very round bottom for hydrodynamics. Okay. So this should improve the way the milk jug is frothing and the way the milk jug is pouring. And another kind of special feature of this one is that the spout is real deep. All right, so when you got milk up to there, you're actually not holding the froth back. I never really loved the jugs that have got a short spout because I feel they're holding the froth back. But with this one, because it's so long, it's actually allowing the froth to channel out a little bit differently than others. So again, it's a very personal thing, but we put it down there for someone that enjoys the brand and likes what we're doing and wants to have a precision spout or a round spout that matches everything else that we got. Well, she's there for that.
And the distributor. So the distributor is something you did quite interesting because there was quite a few distributors on the market already.
Yes, there was. So what we done here, okay, there was a lot of distributors on the market. And by all means, I've liked using them and I've learned a lot from them. What I did notice though is that, you know, the most of them, like, they're all set to the level. So they've got a certain level that you spin them into the basket and then they level out your coffee. You gotta set them for a certain coffee, you gotta set them for a certain dose. But the minute in which you change in coffee, then what happens? Your distributor is out.
Yeah.
So what, you gotta have 2 distributors? You know what I mean? And that's where I start thinking on a way to develop something that would actually be consistent with different coffees, you know? And the only way to do that is to have something that works, instead of with the level, it works with the weight, so with the gravity. So once you put this one into a basket with coffee, it will just go down, but it will go down to a point where it's pressing the coffee and the coffee stops it there, which is the gravity weight of it, you know? So it doesn't matter if you're using, like, you know, your house blend, your single origin, and your decaf, this will always do the same job.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And even if you're not weighing out and there's a slight variance in the weight, it will compensate for that.
100%, it will compensate for it. And it's not, again, it's something that I thought it would be handy to have for consistency.
And lastly, save the best to last.
Save the best to
This
last.
was just launched recently.
Yeah.
Looks like any other basket, it feels a lot better.
Yeah,
Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, it does look similar to the other baskets. Yeah, 100%. There's a big difference in this one, which is the thickness of the metal. Okay, when you got like our standard baskets, they are 0.3 millimeter. When you got this one, they go 1.1 millimeter.
Yeah.
Having a thicker material allows you to be a lot more precise with the shape.
Yeah.
So we've managed to do a basket which is a cylinder rather than a slight cone.
So we've actually done an in-depth video on the HE basket. For that video, just click here and you can see Andrea explain it in detail and use a refractometer to show the differences between the baskets. On that note, if you got a question for Andrea or myself, let me know in the comments below. And like always, if this video is what you value, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Thank you and see you on the next video.
Thank you.